Mr. Beilin, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. You were a major part in the Oslo Accords. Some consider Oslo today a dirty word. Are the current negotiations actually continuing where Oslo Accords left off?
Well, the Oslo Accords what actually scaffoldings. I mean, the idea was that we will have a 5-year agreement toward a permanent agreement, and the idea was to actually emulate the one which was suggested in the Camp David Accords of 78, which exactly refer to these 5 years and negotiations towards a permanent agreement. We did not invent in Oslo but two things. One was the negotiations with the PLO rather than with the artificial Palestinian group in the beginning of the 90s. And the other was to begin with Gaza and Jericho rather than with the whole area. But Oslo had to end years ago. The fact that Oslo has been kept is because of its opponents. Those who are the people, like Netanyahu, who was very much against the Oslo Agreement, and then he grabbed it because he understood that Oslo could become a permanent interim agreement and an umbrella to continue and build settlements. So this is why, in a way, he was very much supportive of the continuation of the Oslo Agreement. And today, I mean, the negotiations, of course, are based on Oslo.
Some say today that this is part of an American effort to postpone the Palestinian appeal once again to the UN.
This is nonsense, sheer nonsense. I mean, Kerry is very serious. You can say that it is because of his political ambitions. You can say because of his deep beliefs in the importance of the solution for the Palestinian problem, for the American policy in the Middle East. Whatever the motivation is, and it is really unimportant for me, the fact is that he did not give up.
You mentioned Gaza earlier. A large part of the Palestinian population is in Gaza under Hamas ruling. If there is a good result eventually, what is it worth?
If there is a good result, which is speaking about a Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza, which will not be implemented in Gaza because it is under the rule of the Hamas, you are creating an incentive for the people who live in Gaza to say, we want to join with our brethren on the other side of Israel and to have one state as we dreamt all the time. So the importance of the agreement is the implementation in the West Bank, but also the creation of the wish of the people in Gaza to join it.
You've also mentioned the core issues earlier. Is this something that should be left for a later stage?
I think that it is the other way around. I would like to see the two parties talking seriously about Jerusalem and about the refugees and about the other issues on the agenda. And for the third party, which is partly an observer and partly a member of the negotiations, to watch it objectively and to ask himself, is there any opening? Is there any chance to bridge this gap? And if the answer is no, don't waste time on it. That's all. Work on the other option.
What is the price of a failure? What is the meaning and price of a failure?
First of all, people will say that's enough is enough. On the other side, the Palestinians will turn to the UN and to the ICC. And this is exactly what we wouldn't like them to do. They will not gain anything by that, and the Americans will be very angry with them. So, and this is only if there is no violence, but violence is always an option if there is frustration. So although I don't know exactly what the price is, I assume that it is a very, very expensive one. Let us not test it. Let us not get to this moment.